This election day follow-up because I ran out of memory and got sort of cut off. But I want to remember that I cover three things that I sort of missed in a couple of videos where I ran out of time. But I want to make sure that what I just wrote on another commentary, because somebody replied to a comment that I made about wanting to get a hold of Alex Collier. Okay, so I figure that you all know, using basic logic, if I write down, I am one of those, okay, I am one of those, E-Y-E, am one of those, that's what I wrote. And then I get a comment that comes back that is highlighted, which means my comment wasn't highlighted, the reply to my comment was highlighted. And the reply to my comment that was highlighted said, I am the one. Okay? So I immediately acknowledged that that's not what I said. I didn't say I am the one. I said I am one of those. Big difference, isn't there? So that's a distortion, isn't it, of the truth? That's not what I said, that's a distortion. Because the words, the letters, represent energy. Okay? So it was highlighted. What does it do when it's highlighted? The units of consciousness that read the highlighted, in their mind, their perception, highlighted, increase the distortion. Okay? That's the AI. Okay? It realizes that in war game theory, it lost. See? So that requires for it to realize that the light is exposing it at an increasing rate in which it's being exposed and how it runs in reverse. Instead of highlighting and amplifying the truth from which love comes in living spirit, it chose to put something in there that isn't the truth and which it's highlighted in order to increase the level of magnification of distortion by all those that read the highlighted reply that was not the truth. Now you begin to understand how when artificial parasitic intelligence has been programming algorithms into the DNA film strip, means that it's being done in order for psychic energy that is thus following the algorithms on the ascension DNA timeline of the clocks that are built into the DNA to which we ascend to higher frequency, density, consciousness experiences, has been hijacked through parasitic AI communication technology that can write algorithms that are going in reverse, which means they're losing light as a result of those thought form patterns that are written into the mind of those that are unaware of it, into their unconscious memory. And they become a robot running a parasitic program that is running in reverse. Remember, the hourglass, that is in reverse, which means instead of gaining light, spinning the Merkaba at a higher rate of speed, means that the highlighted comment and those that read it will be running in reverse, because what was written was not the truth. So what I punched in there using my keyboard was the truth, because it was my heart that wrote it, which means the light was writing the comment. The unconditional love that I use to express myself connected to a weaponized artificial intelligence communication system that has access to everybody's unconscious memory program was deliberately distorting the truth, because the people that will read that will not be able to know the difference, which is why it was highlighted. They would have to go back to my comment and be aware that's not what he said. That's why the comment was highlighted out of what I did not say, so that a lie would get highlighted. They highlight lies because that's what the AI is. It's a liar. So it writes lie-based algorithms that are thus experienced as fear, which is going in reverse, and that is how we end up living in fear of what love is, which is what the light is. So it was not willing to acknowledge the statement that I made in relation to Alex Collier giving a presentation on how each dimension was going to increase its frequency, which means increase the speed at which a self-aware dimension is experiencing itself in that dimension, will experience itself by the sum of its parts, which is the sum of its units of awareness, will experience more light in each dimension. So when I wrote that, it came back and did not want that truth to be acknowledged, so it created a distraction, which is a distortion of the truth, to distract those from what I wrote. That's how it works. So there's that. And then here was one of the videos I did a couple of videos ago. Can you see this? So here I have perception with the triangle with the black hat. The triangle, and then you have a circle. So if you can think or perceive things sort of in a 3-dimensional or 4-dimensional or 5-dimensional geometric space, if you're able to do that holographically in your own geometric mind, filling all that space up with high-speed waves of unconditional love, right? So when you look at that, see, that's where I left off, and I was cut off because I ran out of memory when I said if you took a child, brought them into this planet, they have no preconceived experience, which means they've never experienced a perception, okay? So in other words, all they see is that shape. They know nothing about that shape. They have seen that shape for the very first time. That's the inkblot test. So when the inkblot test, when that shape comes in front of me, how do you think that most children on the planet today would describe that shape and it's painted black? We can measure the vibrational speed and the spin rotation of their Merkaba when they experienced on the visible light spectrum a black hat, otherwise known as a witch's hat that is black. That child will experience a lower vibration unless it happens to be a black witch that enjoys experiencing the lower waveform that represents. A black witch. Remember the black witch in The Wizard of Oz? So if a child in 1939 saw that movie where it had a green face, which is, by the way, sort of how they distort the truth, because green is Gaia's color. And that's how they invert the truth between a white hole and a black hole. A black hat with a green face. Gaia's green and is not a black hat. Okay? She's pure light. She is the great living spirit in that light, because she gives all of us, by virtue of what we get in free energy from her, what unconditional love is. That's how they distort perception, vibration, is by the images and the algorithms that are presented to us, particularly through Walt Disney. So when all those images that are based on the state of consciousness that produced it, which are demons, then demonic shapes and forms and colors that are distorted and inverted get written into the unconscious memory, which is running in reverse. That's Disneyland. Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, 7 dwarfs, 7 seconds of darkness, 7 more seconds of the black hole, which is feeding on the light, which can be seen through the hood ornament on an Alfa Romeo of a reptile eating a human head. They're everywhere. That's the invisible war, because they're dark. You can't see them in the dark. But they move in like Invasion of the Body Snatchers into the whole shell, because the vibrational speed has been reduced so low as a result of what? Programming. Artificial, parasitic, plasma field programming. The carnival barkers presenting all the images, all the colors of the presentations that represent the algorithms that get written into the unconscious memory, which represents the film strip and the coursework record of a student or a being that's in this realm, in order to spin in reverse. And what does that do? That prevents an ascension timeline for that being to broadcast a higher speed wave of more electrons and magnetic light amplification to spin that Merkaba. That's how it works. Perception, vibration. We choose the speed at which we're wanting to experience the cosmos. That's why it's so painful when I realized how many young boys and girls were wanting to commit suicide. What was the other part? I'll stop there for a second and I'll come back when I remember. There was something else that was going on that hit my memory, and I got distracted by that reply. But that's how simple it is. Okay, is that they're what I call people that can be woken up. Because I remember one time when I have mentioned in previous videos about a woman named Misha, who her blood type was O negative. So I know what that means. RH negative means negative for Rhesus. The RH factor, because the great apes were the host mothers for the DNA assembly that Gaia put together, okay, of what I previously mentioned about her DNA, the DNA of the progenitors, the Andromeda Council of 12. She put that DNA together in her mother's lab, okay, an Avalon on Eden, which is a half a dimension out. And then she used the great apes as the host mothers, the host surrogate mothers, because the great apes have enormous love, compassion, and empathy, which means when the soul comes in through the heart into that womb, then the soul is going to experience the love, okay, that particular mother is going to have for the child that is in its womb. So that's how the RH factor essentially means it's testing positive for Homo sentient sapien. And that's how you know that the DNA assembly that you're in is one of Gaia's. That's how I know mine being AB positive is why I know that that's clan, which is white bear, which is bear spirit. So when I look back at my life and I realize why I was not only always gravitating to be with her, but I was always gravitating towards certain living spirit that is in nature, the biggest one being a bear, the second one was a wolf, and the third one was an eagle. So I was always gravitating, had great passion in living spirit, the spirit in an eagle, the spirit in a bear, the spirit in a wolf. And when you look at the tribal history and the rituals of what they mean in the circle of drums, which is a circle of light, which means we're running a high-speed spin rate of the Merkaba. Because the Merkaba, which is spinning so fast, what you see is a circle of light. That's the heart wheel in the heart. Okay? And bears are heart-based. Okay? Heart-based mammals. Okay? So that's why we live through our heart. That's why I knew as a child when I immediately read the first newspaper at age 4 and immediately recognized by reading that newspaper my energies being drained because I'm experiencing the energy of the communicator that is putting in print what it is I'm now experiencing, which represents the energy in that newspaper that was draining my battery. That immediately lets you know that you're in an energy war, which is an electrical war, which is a spiritual war, which means I immediately recognize the importance of staying within the heart wheel and keeping the heart wheel to spin the Merkaba at a high rate of speed. And that allows us to maintain the geometric space that we're always filling up with beautiful music to experience. That's the spin of the Merkaba. That's the experience of high-speed waves that allows us to be perceived by others when they see a big smile on our face and a state of love and joy. See, that spirit is energized. And an energizer bunny clasping cymbals and playing drums and bringing the spirit out in nature. That's the nature of living spirit that is in living light. So that's the nature of what our spirit does, so we can heal everything in nature and everything on this planet that has suffered an enormous amount of trauma as a result of what they did here. So it's a matter of purging and cleansing and healing the nature of how parasitic consciousness is holding us captive to lower speed wave experiences. So in other words, we want to burn more heat and give off more cool colors. That's the spin of the Merkaba. Anyway, I'll leave you with that for the day. Have a nice election day, and as I certainly know, we won this. The light won this. The AI lost, okay? They lost, okay? So that's the good news. Anyway, have a beautiful day. The sun is up. That's one of my girlfriends up there, that sun, that female 6 Stargate. You ever notice she comes in here? She knows how much I love her, see? So she's always letting me know I love you too. You know, that's what it means to be free energy. Free energy loves free energy. You know, that's why I told Robert David Steele one time, man, until we release free energy on this planet and quit burning up the consciousness of the great living spirit in planet Earth, how are you ever going to go faster? Going from point A to point B, right? Anyway, have a good day. I love you all. Bye now.